Early in the morning, early in the morning, in the morning.
What's going on, the people them? It's your boy Cam, Topical Juice, and I'm back with another video for y'all. And as you can tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about my opinion on everything that's been going on in Ukraine, Russia, the possibility of World War III and things like that. Now, I've been sitting on this for a while. And the reason for that is because I'm still torn on kind of where I fall, you know what I'm saying, on my true opinions of this whole situation. Now, let me make it very, very clear. I do not condone violence. I do not condone invasion, violence and aggression and murder and, bombings and things like that. I don't condone that in any way, shape or form. However, this one is a bit different. It's harder to be sympathetic towards what's happening in Ukraine when a lot of what I've seen on social media is really painting Ukraine and Ukraine government in a bad light. Do you know what I'm saying? It's very easy to just listen to the news or see some things on social media and quickly form an opinion. When I don't just form opinions. I'm not just a sheep. Yeah, I really do look at things from different ways and different angles. And what's happening to Indians, what's happening to Africans out there, and also the media coverage on Ukraine and how they're racially bashing the Middle East and things like that, that leaves a sour taste in my mouth. It makes it harder for me to be really sympathetic towards what's going on out there when you don't actually know the full scope of what's going on out there. Do you understand? So I'm going to get into this video and I'm going to give you my thoughts, because I dropped a video yesterday and a lot of people in my comment section were asking me for my thoughts and opinions. Now, half of you might not like my opinion on what I'm going to say, but I'm very real, I'm very straight, and I'm very honest. Do you know what I'm saying? So tune in, get stuck in, press the like button for me, hit the bell to be notified for me, and please hit that subscribe button for me, because there's road to 50,000 right now. But of course, it's 100,000 by the end of the year I'm trying to achieve. Pressing that like button really goes a long way. So thank you for tuning in. Thanks to my new subscribers. And let's get into this video. So first things first. Do I condone Russia invading Ukraine? No, I don't. That's where I stand on that. Yeah, I don't want World War III to kick off. I don't want people in Europe to die or people in wherever to die. I don't want that to happen, okay? So that's first things first. I do not condone what's happening out there right now in terms of invasions. But you lot need to understand certain things, right? If you just listen to the UK media, yeah, and the US media, all they'll tell you is that Putin is a dictator and he's just a this, he's a that, he's a violent oligarch or whatever. I don't know what they'll call him everything under the sun. And that's the problem with media, for one, and the media in your own country, is that it's extremely biased. Yeah, and it always will be. Whereas I don't watch the media. I refuse to listen to propaganda daily. I don't. Like, it's dangerous. You understand? And the reason why I say that, yeah, is because there's two sides to every story. Now, I've categorically come out and said I do not condone Russia's decision to invade. However, you have to understand the reasoning why. Now, I've sat back and not given my opinion yet because I don't actually know the full scope of the history. But I'm a historian. I did history for a university degree. This is the way I think. I know how important geopolitical history and geopolitical factors are in contributing to something like this. Yeah, this is not new, people. Yeah, this is not new. It's just the media in the UK and the US will make it seem like it's new and will suppress all the news on the Middle East and suppress all the news on Palestine and suppress all the news in Yemen and all that stuff, just so we can prioritize Ukraine. What's happening right now is just Ukraine's turn for the spotlight, you lot. Right? What's happened in Ukraine has been happening globally. Whether it's Iraq or wherever, Palestine, wherever. This has been happening. It just goes to show, yeah, that when it's in Europe, when it's close to home, people care more. Now, I'm consistent. I care as much as I care about the other ones as well. Circling back to the main point, if you simply just listen to the UK, US media, they'll tell you that it's all Russia's fault and this, that and the other, and they won't portray another side of the argument. However, historically, you have to look back to history. This is very key when it comes to political, social, economic things, looking back where we've come from, clearly helps us understand where we are today and where we're going. Now, historically speaking, Russia was a major force in World War II that helped us win the war. Facts. Yeah, Russia, I think, lost about 20 odd million people in the war. Now, that's not necessarily just down to conflict. I'm sure, you know, with Stalin's regime, there was probably more and more and more. Do you know what I'm saying? But the point is, yeah, they were a big factor and a big reason why we won World War II. Okay, now following from World War II, right, was the formation of NATO, which in simple terms is an alliance amongst certain countries, right? And UK and mainly the US. The US is a big leading player in that. You understand, in NATO, especially like the UK as well. Now, since the formation of NATO, yeah, it's actually doubled. Like the amount of membership has doubled. And the idea is that it's pretty much, it's an alliance. So if anyone touches, obviously it goes deeper than this, probably trade and things like that. But ultimately, if anyone touches any country that's in that alliance, we all have an obligation to ride the beef, right? Now, Russia was always alienated and isolated following the success of World War, or following the victory of World War II. Historically, Russia was always alienated. Then we bring in the Cold War. Okay, we've got a Cold War where people think we're close to World War III now. Nah, the Cuban Missile Crisis, we were really close to World War III then. Nuclear war, one push of a button away from nuclear war. So historically, you've got Russia and US tensions there. Do you understand? Tensions. These are very key factors. You've got nuclear tension, you've got the Cold War, you've got the space race, you've got things like that. Who's going to get to space first? Who's going to get to the moon first? Russia or the US? There's a lot of... It's a Cold War, do you understand? Who's going to be the most powerful behind the scenes? Who's going to build their nuclear, right? So from Russia's perspective, they've actually been isolated from NATO on the orders, really, of the US from day dot, right? So it makes sense why mentally they don't really like the US. Yeah, the same way the US don't like Russia is the same way Russia don't like the US. There's a conflict there, cold and hot. So now we look at Ukraine. Ukraine's always been like a part of Russia historically. I'm not going to go into the whole history there. They've been independence and whatnot, but as in, you can look into that history of Ukraine and Russia and how they go back. So Russia do not like the idea, and Putin doesn't like the idea of Ukraine joining NATO, an organization or whatever, an alliance that's historically alienated them, this, that and the other. You have to look at multiple sides here. Like, I'm not condoning the invasion of Ukraine, right? But from Russia's perspective, they're not going to like the idea of Ukraine joining NATO, which will then allow, right, the US to put military bases and stuff on neighboring countries. Ukraine is neighboring to Russia, and if you look at Russia's history with America, it ain't been good. So they're not going to like that, right? They literally just don't trust the US, and I don't blame them. Do you understand? I don't blame them. Like, the US is a trash nation. The UK is a trash nation. Historically, we are trash, right? So that's my thoughts on what's happening with the dynamic between Ukraine and the US right now. Personally, I do not condone, and nor do I think it was wise to invade a country if that's the main reason why they're doing it, because I believe, you know, there's diplomatic ways of squashing the beef, you know what I'm saying? So I don't I don't agree with it. But you have to look at both sides. You know, I hear people in my family, I hear people on the street, they just listen to the news. They're glued to BBC News and Sky News, and it's easy to just fall into the trap that Putin is the devil and this, that and the other, when actually, all these politicians are the same. They're all money hungry, just greedy motherfuckers that just lie to their people. It's as simple as that. From a personal point of view, yeah, from a mixed race or someone who's part of the black community point of view, who's very, very pro-black, I cannot lie to you lot. I am finding it extremely hard to be sympathetic and empathize with these Ukrainians when they are outright racist, okay? You lot that don't experience racism will never understand if racism trumps everything else to us, yeah? Because you'll get some people in the audience, oh, guys, have some humanity. These lot are going through war right now. These lot are dying right now. Race isn't as big as that. You won't know. You understand? You won't know. For us, race is bigger than that, because this is a war that we go through daily. Do you understand? Daily. Not just every 100 years then a conflict kicks off. Nah, the war against race, we experience that daily. In modern civilized society, we experience that. So don't come on my video and tell me that war or whatever takes priority over racism. No. If we suddenly hear that a war-torn country is going through it, but then all of a sudden we've got a lot of videos circulating on Twitter of all their racism while the war's going on, we don't care about them anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? Because how can you be going through war and be going through an invasion and still find time to be racist? That's what's baffling to me. It's baffling to me. Now, what am I actually talking about? Let me actually give you the context, right? As you guys know, Ukraine are in a conflict with Russia at the moment. And over the last 48 hours, there have been a number of disturbing videos, right, of Indian students who live in Ukraine, African students, up to 4,000 living and studying wherever in Ukraine. They are trying to flee like any other Ukrainian is, whatever. They're trying to flee the country because they are in a war zone, right? So tell me why there's videos circulating all throughout Twitter, social media, whatever, of soldiers physically prohibiting the minority people from coming on trains, banning them from getting on trains, so the pure white people and pure Ukrainians can get on. How can you actually be going through a war, yeah, or the start of a war, or the start of a possible war, an invasion, and still find time to show how racist you lot are? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not an idiot. Like, Ukraine is Ukraine. Like, no offense, one of my close brethren, who I was literally with yesterday, is half Ukrainian. You understand? Like, so I'm not trying to disrespect Ukraine, but Ukraine, he validated my thoughts. Ukraine is racist, bro. Like, I'm not surprised. Like, when do we ever hear of Ukraine being an open-minded, when it comes to kind of race and social issues, real open-minded and caring about race? Like, we don't hear that. You know, let's be real here. In the UK, when we think of Eastern Europe, we think racist because that's a lot of our experience is racist, you know, whether it's even Russia or Ukraine or even Poland. Like, a lot of them are racist. It's as simple as. So I'm not surprised at seeing this, but it's just incredible how you can still be racist while you're begging the world for sympathy and pray for Ukraine and things like that. What is this? Right? Now, this leads me on to the final part of the video, right? Which is the media's coverage of Ukraine. Now, the media has always been racist. I hate the media. You lot know me, I've hated the media since before I even did YouTube. That's why I don't watch it. I categorically cannot sit here and watch Sky or Al Jazeera no more, or Russia Today or BBC, because it's all biased. It's all propaganda. I can't do it. Yeah, I prefer to find the news elsewhere from non-biased sources. But the news coverage of Ukraine is disturbing. And what I mean is because the way they talk about Ukraine, they have to belittle and destroy and be unconsciously racist to other countries, including the Middle East and Africa. Why are you bringing up the Middle East and Africa when you're talking about the Ukraine? Now, what I mean by that is so many news coverage, presenters, UK, US, French, any European country you want, they're all singing from the same hymn sheet. They're literally all saying, guys, this is a bit different. This isn't some war-torn country like Iraq. This isn't some refugees coming from Syria and the Middle East. This is Europeans. This is blonde hair, blue-eyed Europeans. We don't really see this over here. This is a bit more concerning. They look like us. They don't look like they come from there. Do you not see the problem with that? Do you not see the problem with that damaging mentality, that damaging opinion?
Now the unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.
Yeah, well, just to put it bluntly, these are not refugees from Syria. These are refugees from neighboring Ukraine. I mean, that, quite frankly, is part of it. These are Christians, they're white, they're very similar to many people who live in Poland.
Sorry, it's very emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed, children being killed every day with Putin's missiles and his helicopters and his rockets.
This isn't a place, with all due respect, you know, like Iraq or Afghanistan that has seen conflict raging for decades. You know, this is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen. So it's partly human nature, but they are not in denial.
And what's compelling is just looking at them, the way they're dressed. These are prosperous, I'm loath to use the expression, these are prosperous middle-class people. These are not obviously refugees trying to get away from areas in the Middle East that are still in a big state of war. These are not people trying to get away from areas in North Africa. They look like any European family that you would live next door to.
Fuck off.
Guys, there was more than that. Do you see the problem with that? So war is okay unless it's happening in these places, in these white places, in these European places, in these blonde hair, blue eye places. So war isn't that serious when it's some people over there, you know, they've got brown skin, grey skin, like black skin, yellow skin, whatever. War is okay when it's happening over there. But God forbid war happens in Europe. God forbid war happens in the continent that it's been happening for thousands of years. God forbid. God forbid people that look like us, who are middle class and civilized and not animals. God forbid it happens to us. Do you understand how that can be insulting to a lot of fucking people? Myself included. I don't understand what the blonde hair, blue eyes has got to do with anything. Why are they echoing this European sentiment? I don't understand. I don't get it. And this is just a reminder, yeah, of just how racist Europeans really are. These are microaggressions that you, if you are white, or if you are not black or not minority, you're just not going to understand, right? You don't understand. Like, a lot of people think that racism is just a form of calling someone the N-word, or calling someone a coon, or something, whatever. It's not. It's this. It's the microaggressions at work, the way people are covered on news. This is what racism looks like. So I'm sorry, innit? I can't, my sympathy can only go so far. Yeah? I'm going to leave you with this. I'm going to literally leave you with this picture. This is a picture that I want you to look at. You've got Ukraine at the top there being saved by the world's attention, as you can see. Palestine is drowning right next to Ukraine. And underneath you've got Syria, Libya, Iraq, Yemen, Bosnia, Kashmir. Right? So this is not me saying that what's happening in Ukraine is justified, this, that. I have categorically said I do not agree with it. But I'm fair and I'm consistent. Yeah? And I look at things holistically. How can we be showing Ukraine this much attention right now and just be sleeping on the rest of the world? Right? While Ukraine was all civilized, you know, like the Europeans, right? Literally 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, murder was happening in Palestine. Bombings were happening in Iraq. Do you understand? But where was the same energy? Where was the same focus? Where was the same attention? Yeah? So that's my thoughts on it. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I don't know if you lot thought I was going to sit here and come on here and say, you know what? Oh, you know, pray for this, that, and free this, that. I do agree with that. But, you know, I also have a different opinion. So let me know your thoughts, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you lot in the next video. Peace.